Yes, Mikey and Mia are extremely destructive.
Very destructive. Very, very destructive.
Yeah, he is. He can destroy pretty much anything he wants to destroy.
Yes, she is. Miss is quite destructive in the sense that she likes to chew on different things, especially wood.
He can be, yes. He's got some times that he wants to be destructive and he will go on a mission and he wake up, he's like, I want to break everything I've got.
Yeah, she's really destructive. Stuff that we don't want her to get, anything that she's not supposed to, she always choose.
I think though over time you learn how to parrot-proof a home. You know, you just got to cover everything that you don't want attacked. You need to keep everything that you really care about nice and hidden, but if you do love your home and you have nice things, parrots are probably definitely not for you.
In the last month alone, he's destroyed a MacBook keyboard. He pulled every one but about 10 keys off of the keyboard. My iPhone, he pulled the home button off, which means that your iPhone is good as dead because the home button is part of your motherboard. And also a pocket camera, instant camera. That was 1,600 pounds worth of damage he did in literally 5 minutes. So he's very destructive, yeah. Aren't you?
I've got to have so many different toys, variety for him, because otherwise my house will be absolutely ruined. So you've got to keep an eye on him because that beak is built to destroy stuff.
Any toys she will destroy, but her favorite are boxes, plastic bottles. Sometimes I make a little hole, put the nut inside. Yes, that's true. Nut inside, and then I close it, and then she kind of spends lots of time trying to get it. So yeah, but I try to entertain her.
And some of the days it's very calm, but it depends on the day, but naturally they are.
Do our birds bite? Birds will always bite, but for a reason.
Yeah, he does bite me. I wouldn't really say bite. You know, if a parrot wants to bite, it's gonna do some serious damage.
I mean, all parrots are completely different. I mean, Motley tends not to bite me that much, and he does bite, but it means so many different things.
Yes, Missy sometimes can be a bit bitey, depends on her mood.
He does bite. Sometimes he gets his moods and he wants to do his own thing and he doesn't want to be told off.
Not too much. We've got an African grey as well. He bites quite a bit, doesn't he?
It's basically your job as a bird owner to find out why your bird is biting you. We still get bitten by Mikey and Mia sometimes because we do things that they aren't happy with, but obviously sometimes we need to take them to bed. We need to bring them in from outside. We need to take them home for a fly, and sometimes they'll say, look, no, I don't want to be taken anywhere, and they'll bite. Now, there's a couple of different bites. Some are just the get away from me bite that I don't like this, which isn't too bad, but sometimes if they aren't too happy, they will definitely draw blood. So if you do plan on getting a bird, definitely expect to be bitten.
He's just a little bit nippy at the moment because he's going through his sort of teenage phase. He's about nearly 18 months old now, so he's kind of growing up and he's becoming very feisty. So he does get a bit nippy. He nips you on the side of the neck when he wants attention and does silly things like this. So yeah.
I love you. Like, he could bite me, but it could be like playful, whereas got another bird, they can bite me and it can be like aggressive, it could be get off me, it could simply be them letting you know that they need something or want something. But every parrot does bite for some reason or other.
If she's in a good mood, she will be quite nice, like she's nice right now. But if she wants something and I'm not doing quite what she wants, then she will let me know by nipping.
So he can bite, but luckily we manage him and he wouldn't do it maliciously.
Yeah.
He's bitten you a few times.
Yeah, but
He's bitten you as well, isn't he?
Mikey and Mia do scream. Again, just like biting, screaming is always for a reason. Are they hungry? Are they thirsty? Do they want to shower? Do they want to fly? Do they want to train? Do they want toys?
Luckily Rocket doesn't really scream all that much. I wouldn't say he doesn't scream. Of course he does, and it's ear-piercingly loud when he does, but generally speaking, he's one of the quieter ones.
Yeah, screaming for parrots is one of those big things.
Missy screams sometimes, usually when she's left by herself. She doesn't like to be alone.
Sometimes he does.
Yeah, she's quite loud. It's normally in the mornings and at night she gets quite loud.
It's your job again as a bird owner to find out exactly why that bird is screaming. Sometimes though, they just scream when they are happy. But if it's one of those things where if you do give them everything kind of they want, obviously to an extent, you can have a nice, happy, somewhat quiet bird with maybe 10 minutes of screaming in the morning and evening, if that. But birds vary bird by birds. But if you are worried about noise, if you are a little bit sensitive, a bird is definitely not for you.
When he wants something, when he's feeling lonely, if he's in his cage and I come home, cage aviary in his room, and I come home and he hears my voice, he just starts going crazy because he wants to come out of the cage. So there's always a reason why he screams, but he's not a particularly sort of screamy bird.
Generally it's because they want something, so you've got to read their body language, you've got to see what's going on in the environment, and you can kind of figure out what's going on. Generally a happy parrot is a quieter parrot, but they always scream.
We usually let her scream for a bit and then she stops when she realizes nobody's responding. Then she calms down and yeah, she's just trying, but you know, they're screamers, morning and evening especially.
We try to encourage him not to, and then he flies twice a day, so he's actually quite lucky, but he doesn't shout much, no.
Just as the sun comes up like they would if they were out in the wild.
Why do people clip wings and keep them caged? Honestly, I think a lot of people do buy these birds. They see all these beautiful birds on social media and stuff. They think, all right, let's go get a bird. And then they just don't do any research at all. They see some old man who clipped his bird 20 years ago because there was no actual proof that clipping wings is really, really bad.
Well, that's a very good question, because from way back in the day, bird fanciers, as we used to be called, would keep birds purely as ornaments. And they were kept in cages and they clipped their wings so that they couldn't fly away because they were valuable, etc., etc. And they didn't really realize what they were doing. Birds were seen as commodities effectively back in the day.
So there are quite a lot of people that do clip their wings. I think it's generally for people who are not educated properly on the health and well-being of birds.
Sometimes people clip their birds' wings thinking that they will be able to control their birds more, but really what happens with the clipped wings, a bird unfortunately loses ability to fly and becomes very fearful, because the one means by which they can go away if they're feeling uncomfortable is taken away, so they become a little bit upset and sometimes depressed.
I think is culturally and misinformation. They think that is the best for the parrot, but honestly that is a horrible thing to do to a parrot.
Just because to stop them flying and stuff, really.
It's a horrible, horrible thing, but an educated bird owner who's done their research 100% knows clipping a bird's wings should not be done. If you want a bird that doesn't fly, obviously there's like 1,000 animals that don't fly in the world. Dogs, fish, cats, monkeys, who knows. If you want an animal that flies, let them fly. They don't all have to be free-flighted like we do, like everyone is today, but even indoor recall is amazing. Keeping a bird caged for a long time is a horrible thing. These birds do not deserve to be in prisons. They're extremely intelligent, they are extremely social, they need the freedom. So if you don't have that time, if you don't have the patience, if you don't have the room, again, a bird is probably not for you.
As people have started to realize how intelligent these guys are and their sort of social development, the way they get socially stunted by being in cages and locked up and having their wings clipped so they can't fly, their brains don't develop properly, people have started to realize that there's better ways of doing things. But unfortunately, there are still a lot of old school ideas that still prevail about wing clipping. Some people think it's a great thing to do, just because the information available in books and online says to clip your bird's wings. So people haven't really realized that there's an alternative. So it's unfortunate, but it'll take time, but people will get there.
Now, as you can see, us as a free flight group, we get our birds out, we fly them. Part of the reason of that is obviously their mental health and well-being, but they've also got 9 air sacs because they continually need to breathe. Now, giving that flight gives them the respiratory, all the airways that they need to be able to be a healthy animal. A lot of people also clip them because they think it's going to keep the bird safe. Majority of the time, that doesn't actually happen. It just causes the bird to be more clumsy, they don't have control of what they're doing, and it causes a lot more damage and harm.
People also keep birds in the cages because they think, oh, they're gonna fly off or they don't have time. But I would just say those who prefer that method of keeping birds, they shouldn't really get the bird. It's like having a dog and breaking dog's legs because they might run off on the road or something.
They're animals that are meant to fly, they need to burn energy, and absolutely shouldn't be clipped.
There's more like education and stuff now around about like flying and like the enrichment and stuff they need, whereas before a lot of them were wild caught, so they just kept them in cages and didn't really sort of do anything with them. But as the internet and stuff's grown and knowledge about birds has come on, they sort of don't clip wings and stuff now, which is good. It's a good thing.
What kind of person should own a bird? Basically someone who doesn't mind putting in a ridiculous amount of work for the rest of their life.
What kind of person should own a bird? Right, I've always said that not everybody should have birds, not everybody is right for birds. How do you know if you're right for birds? The way I kind of say to other people is you have to have the persistence of a priest and the patience of a saint. And you've got to be prepared to clean your entire house at least 3 times a day. If you wouldn't have a child right now, don't have a macaw. Do not get a bird. Definitely don't get a macaw. They are effectively toddlers that never grow up and fly at you and try and bite you when they get hormonal. So, you know, if you don't want to have a toddler for the rest of your life, forget about it. Just literally get a cat. So we're not very big on social media or anything like that, but we are on Instagram. So if you want to come check Rocket out, Rocket the Macaw on Instagram. Rocket the Crow Chaser is in the title. So go and check us out.
So I think anyone who wants to own a bird needs to do so much research. Come and meet us, come and meet people who've got birds, because you know it looks all amazing and fantastic, but actually it's really hard work. These guys are like toddlers. So I think if you've got the space, you've got the time, you've got the money and the patience, then yes, consider getting a bird, but please do your research before then. Check us out. We are Motley's Adventures, so it's Motley's_adventures, and you can check Motley jumping off some cliffs and having an awesome time.
So carrying on the clipping wings or not clipping wings and stuff, I would say the type of person who wants to own the bird, to be with the bird, needs to be very tolerant, needs to do lots of research about the type of the bird that they're getting, like their temperament, their nature, have a lots of space, and also financially they're kind of demanding. They cost lots of money to keep, even if you can get them cheap, which is usually not the case, but even if you do, they require special diet, fresh fruits, vegetables, special type of pellets. So if you're going for a good stuff, then that costs money, the toys included. And you know, type of person who wants to have a macaw or a smaller parrot needs to be really dedicated. It's like having a toddler, having a child, and you can't just sort of, oh, I'm too busy now. There is no such a thing as I'm too busy. You just have to find the time like you would find for your own child. It's not like, oh, I'm just going to neglect them for a few days because I'm too busy partying or something. I mean, social life goes out the window when you have a bird, basically. If anybody's interested to find out more about Missy, who is also a military macaw, she's got Instagram account, which is Missy_military_macaw, and it's exactly the same for on TikTok and the Facebook.
I think that is a very tricky question. I think everybody should be allowed to own a bird, but there is a level of commitment that neither one of us, I wasn't, after doing my research, even that, I wasn't prepared for the commitment that it is having a parrot. So I think you do need to be very honest with yourself and think that that parrot is going to last you many years and a few decades, and you need to be committed to them and to their happiness. So I think everybody should be allowed to have a bird, but then they need to be very honest with themselves and see if they're actually going to be able to make them happy.
Very patient people, people that know about birds and have researched them and stuff like that, people that aren't too house proud, and people that love animals. We got a parrot looks at 40, which is on Instagram and on Facebook. Add us up.